Hello everyone, it's Surreal Snow, and today I'm making a Halo 5 weapon tier list. I'm not going to bore you with an intro, so let's start the video. So here's the tier list I made, which is, as you can tell, is awfully formatted because I don't have an actual site to make tier lists. I just threw a bunch of pictures together and they didn't really fit. But this is the tier list, so you can just see where all the weapons you like are placed, and now I'm just going to explain why I put all of them there. The only gun I have in the F tier is the Suppressor. The reason I don't like the Suppressor is because its range is fairly limited, just has kind of mediocre damage, and the fact that it takes time to charge up means if someone takes you by surprise, there's really nothing you can do about it. I just can't imagine a situation where I would want to have a Suppressor. It just doesn't do enough damage, even when fully charged. That's the only time it even does respectable damage, and by then you're probably already going to be killed. And for E tier, we have the Storm Rifle, and none of these are in particular order, just the tier. The first one I say in E tier isn't better or worse than the last one, E tier. They're all fairly similar, and I haven't rated them that much. But the reason I don't like the Storm Rifle is, like the Suppressor, I just haven't found really use for it. Its accuracy just isn't that good, the overheating factor is annoying, its damage is alright, but it's really only really good at close range. And even then, it's not phenomenal. It's really good at close range, but that's it, and there's just way better close range weapons. Another E-tier weapon is a Brute Plasma Rifle. The reason this weapon is ranked so low is because it feels like a better version of the Storm Rifle that overheats way faster. And it's mainly used at close range, and just like the Storm Rifle, I would prefer to have a shotgun. It can be used at medium range if you're really good with it. I'm not, but if you were, it would be rated in higher tiers. But I just cannot seem to use this gun without getting killed by like every other gun except the Suppressor. The final gun in the E tier is the Sentinel Beam. I wasn't sure whether to put this gun in the D, E, or F tier, because the damage is just sad. Honestly, it's probably the worst weapon in the game in that aspect, but the problem is, or maybe the benefit is, it has perfect range and accuracy. So it doesn't do much damage, but the fact that you can use it at any range and still has perfect accuracy, I had to keep it out of F tier. For our first D tier weapon, I'm going to talk about the Spartan Laser. So the Spartan Laser, it's just a weird gun. It's really good at taking out vehicles, but it's pretty difficult to use. It's very difficult to hit people with. And the fact that as you're firing it, it's like putting a neon target on your forehead saying shoot me, because it fires this little red beam that points to your exact location. Using this gun is just asking to get sniped. So it can be used to take out vehicles, but it's pretty hard to use, and a lot of times you get killed just by trying to fire it. Another D tier weapon that I know a lot of people would be disappointed about is the Assault Rifle. The Assault Rifle in Halo 5, I just don't really like it. It's pretty cool in PvE, honestly, but in PvP, it feels like just the definition of mediocre. It feels like an inferior SMG. I mean, it does have more range than SMG, but really you're using it at close quarters. I just don't see much of a reason to use it. I mean, I'll take it if I get it, but I'd much prefer many other guns. Moving into the C weapons, I'm going to talk about the Boltshot. Now, the Boltshot just isn't that good. It's just an inferior battle rifle that's way easier to aim. Now, the reason it is in C tier is because of how much the bullets track targets. It makes it very hard to miss with this gun. So a lot of times, like Spartans dashing to the side and stuff, you can't really dodge a bolt shot. And if you're low, you're done. I put the shotgun at C tier because although it's fantastic at extremely close range, with Spartans jumping around and boosting, it's very hard to get a direct hit, which makes it take sometimes 2 or 3 shots to kill. And just the fact that it isn't super reliable. I've never found the shotgun to be super reliable against other Spartans. In my opinion, the Scattershot is like a 2-shot shotgun. The shotgun, you'll get kills in 1 shot, but sometimes it can take up to 3 shots to kill people. With the Scattershot, you're almost always getting kills in 2 shots. It's just a different version of the shotgun. The bullets do track a little, which makes it easier to aim, and they do ricochet off walls, though I've never found them ricocheting off walls that useful. It can be useful, but very rarely. It's more of a gimmick. It is nice to have, but really not necessary. I also put the SMG in C tier just because it's pretty good. It's like a slightly longer range version of the shotgun, but of course it takes a bunch of hits to kill people. So take that as you will. Honestly, if I got either that or the shotgun, it doesn't really matter to me. They're just both good close range weapons. I put the Magnum at C tier because it's just the overall standard of an alright weapon. Good with headshots, that's about it, but nothing bad about it. Just, it's an alright weapon. Anything better is pretty good, anything worse, I wouldn't recommend using. For our final C tier weapon, I put the Fuel Rod Cannon. Honestly, I believe the Fuel Rod Cannon is the worst explosive gun in the game, mainly because of how slow the rockets travel. And you have to get a direct hit to kill people, or at least in one shot you have to get a direct hit. So really, the only way to kill someone with this is at close range. Admittedly, it is pretty good at vehicles, but so you can take out vehicles and people at close range. Your only hope at taking people out at long range is if they're both simultaneously blind and deaf, which is highly unlikely on a battlefield. The first and most likely worst weapon in B tier is the grenade launcher. Now the grenade launcher I put in B tier just for the fact that I can one-shot people. It is a little difficult to use, but just has a lot of range. And honestly, just the fact that you can one-shot people and like hit around corners and all that stuff, I think it's a pretty good weapon. The plasma pistol is put in the B tier because it's a fantastic gun, only because of its secondary attack. The secondary charged attack can shred shields and immobilize vehicles. Immobilizing vehicles is fantastic, and you can one-shot a Spartan's shields, I believe. So then you just whip out your secondary, and you can kill them extremely easily. The only reason this gun is not ranked higher is because it relies on you having another very good weapon. The energy sword is in B tier because of its just power and ease of use. It's just a really fun and fairly easy weapon to use, and it is extremely good at close quarters. And you can like jump in the air, dash towards someone, slice at them. You can do a little lunge. Like, it's just a really cool and really fun weapon. The main alternative to the energy sword is the gravity hammer. Now the gravity hammer, you get twice as many swings as the energy sword, and you can take out multiple people at once. But when you hit someone, you don't do a little dash, so you're not guaranteed to kill people, and the energy runs out no matter what. Even if you just hit the ground, you'll lose one of your 20 shots. So in some ways it's better, some ways it's worse than the energy sword. I prefer the sword, but honestly, they're both pretty close to each other, and you just choose what you like more. The plasma caster is in B tier because it is fantastic at clearing out rooms. Just chuck a bunch of grenades in from it, blows up, and kills anyone in the room. Plus, you can charge it up and shoot a very long-range grenade. So I know many people may not like this, but I put the binary rifle in B tier. So it is a fantastic sniper, just great damage, just overall amazing sniper. But the main problem with it is when you're scoping it shoots one or two little red lasers that not only show exactly where you are, but exactly where you're aiming. So it's a when you're scoping down, people can find you, and they can avoid whoever or wherever you're aiming at, which makes it just not super good. It's really hard to find people because they're just going to be avoiding you and counter-firing. I actually put the Needler in A tier just because of how much damage it does and how easy it is to use. Because the bullets track, or the little needles track, you can't dodge it, and you barely need to aim when using it. You just gotta point in their general area, hold down the trigger, and you can kill almost anyone with ease. The beam rifle is in A tier just because of how powerful it is. It can one shot to the head and two shot to the body. It is a fantastic sniper. I do think it's held back though by the bright bluish purple glint that you can see when it's aiming near you, and just the fact that you cannot reload it. It gets 10 shots and that's it. Also, the overheat is a little annoying, but not a big deal. The battle rifle is in A tier only because of its versatility. It has pretty good damage, but you can use the battle rifle in any situation you want, and that's really important to me. put the rocket launcher in A tier mainly because I think it ruined Super Fiesta. Not ruined, I'm exaggerating a lot, but it made the game a lot more annoying. Because if you're in close quarters, this gun will annihilate you. If you're in mid-range, this gun will also annihilate you. Unless you have a sniper, this gun will annihilate you. Now, it is held back because it only has 2 shots, and it's not a super fast reload, but if someone sees you with a rocket launcher, if you don't have a form of cover, you're dead. The Hydra Launcher is an A weapon simply because if you scope into someone, target them, fire 3 shots, unless they have cover, they're dead. It's extremely easy to spam out either people or vehicles with this gun. And if you spawn with this gun, you're good, honestly, until you run out of ammo. As long as you don't get sniped or surprised, you'll be completely fine. It does lack a little bit close range, though, because you have to zoom in for it to target people. But otherwise, it's amazing. I put the Railgun in A tier, mainly because I believe it is a superior version of the Spartan Laser. Spartan Laser may do some things better that I just don't know about, but the Railgun is effective at taking out vehicles, and it's also pretty effective at taking out people. And I like it. If you get surprised with the railgun, that is a problem. It's kind of bad if you get taken off guard, but aside from that, it is a fantastic gun. So I'm looping the light rifle, the DMR, and the Carbine together because they're fairly similar and are just like different versions of each other. The DMR is right in the middle. The Carbine is a bit worse at long range, but is a bit better at close range, while the light rifle is a bit better at long range, but a bit worse at close range. All these are very similar, and you just choose the one that suits your needs better. I prefer the DMR just for the overall. I feel like it's the best overall, but the Carbine's good if you fight more in close quarters, and the light rifle if you tend to keep your distance. And now we are on to our first entry in the S tier. So the sniper rifle is an S tier weapon for me, mainly because the power to 1 shot to the head is just, you can't pass that up. It also 2 shots to the body, but the reason I put this over the beam rifle was because you can reload it, which I believe is extremely important, especially if you get a better variant and you find another one, you can reload it. Because the beam rifle, once you run out of charge, you can't use it anymore no matter what. But also the fact that when you scope in, the beam rifle, there's this little blue glint that people can see fairly easily, while sniper rifles is only silver. And it's a bit harder to see, and I believe that's just enough to push it up into S tier. Also, I just like how the sniper rifle feels, and the fact that it doesn't overheat if you fire quick bullets in succession. The saw is in here because of just how it annihilates anyone that comes across it. Its only weakness is its range, and it easily compensates with that. For its large, it's pretty good damage, but insane rate of fire and gigantic magazine size or drum size. And the reload doesn't really take that long. It is a bit lengthy by Halo standards, but it's like a second extra than normal guns. And this gun, if you bring it into a group of enemies, you can annihilate all of them. Unless they have a rocket launcher or are expecting you, there's really nothing they can do about it. I believe the Incineration Cannon definitely deserves the top spot at S tier, mainly because of just how you can use it in any situation you want. It's pretty good at taking out vehicles, but what I love about this gun is at close range you just pull the trigger, fires a burst, and can instantly kill a Spartan. Long range, you hold it down and it fires this giant like ball of plasma that not only one-shots Spartans, but it also follows things. So this is just an amazing gun. Destroys people at close range and still destroys people at long range. In my opinion, it's just a better version of the rocket launcher, honestly. The charging it does get a little annoying, but just the sheer damage easily compensates for that. The last gun on this list, and my favorite gun on this list, is the Halo 2 Battle Rifle. None of the other Halo 2 or other variant guns are on this, because I don't believe there's really any difference. But the Halo 2 Battle Rifle actually has a difference versus the normal Battle Rifle. So the Halo 2 Battle Rifle is fantastic. The normal one takes 10 shots to kill Spartan. This one takes 11. They fire in 3-round bursts, so that doesn't matter. But for that very slightly less damage, it gains a bunch of bullet magnetism, which basically means the bullets track a lot more aim assist, basically. And it gains a 2x scope and less recoil. It's just an amazing gun. You can use it at any range you want. Extreme long ranges, of course, it's going to struggle. But this is my favorite gun in the game because there's not a situation where it's bad to have that gun. Any situation I can think of, I would like to have the Halo 2 battle rifle as one of my guns. And just saying, pairing this gun up with a plasma pistol, just fire one shot with the pistol to break their shields, pull this out, you can annihilate anyone with this gun. I believe this gun's fantastic. I could be wrong. This is just my opinion, but I really like the Halo 2 battle rifle.